welcome back, stock market people and crypto people who are interested in their favorite companies building out the future, much like Tesla. Let's remember that Tesla is trying to build out a future for mankind. Even if you don't like Elon, he has created the best electric cars that the world can offer from a value standpoint and from an aesthetic standpoint. Um, his politics are another subject entirely. Maybe we'll get into that in the podcast. We will see. But right now we're focusing on the price action. I'm just finishing up the crypto analysis, so we're jumping straight into this, and we're going to try to keep this one nice, tight, and tidy. We're not going to go too much. We're not going to go into too deep of detail. First thing is, as I touched there, we are looking on the 1 week chart. Stocks, you have to look at higher time frames and kind of stick with those, especially if you are a value trader. If you are just looking to buy the stock at the lowest price, and as you can see, we were working with this trend line. Once we finally made higher highs into this trend line, above this trend line, then we can start taking the stock serious. And what we do, one few videos ago, we called $209. We end up hitting $212. We end up getting in at 218 or so once the day started, and then we called the top at $487. Okay, so we ended up having. I'll try to put the video in the. I'll put the video in a link above if I can remember when I'm editing the video. 218 all the way up to 488, 123%. That's very good for in a stock market type of day. We did call that in the, let me see if I can find it. We called that in the stock chat, if I can find that. Goodness gracious, Tesla. Okay, we hit Tesla, Rivian analysis. Okay, we called, as you can see there. That's not it. What is happening? Right, we had one of the charts that I had in the video. Well, is in the group as well. Hitting the 1232, very technical target of $488, around 79 cents. We called it. Where did it go to? $488.54. So you'd have plenty of time to get out if we didn't hit that exact number. Again, we always front run. It's smart to front run the target price by a few dollars, so you can guarantee your exit, right? So you could have got that. So Tesla, what are we looking at right now? We bounced from the golden pocket 618 zone using this is on the 1 week low of $138.80. And what can we expect from there? Easiest thing to do is take this as the bottom level. If we are at the bottom, take that from the bottom. What are we using as the bottom? 214, right? We did talk about 213 or 212 to 209 to 213 as the low. We got that part right. We're back there again. Same place where we blasted off from. Use that as the high. Our next target, our 618 target, would be $383. At the start of the golden pocket, we marked that off as an alert level. Okay, so if we zoom into the 1 day, we're going to look for some more precise target levels. We can use this level here, $367. And our next target level would be $308.70. Now, if we take all-time high, anchored volume profile, we want to stay above 242 as support, where we're currently under right now, and that which happens to be the point of control. value area lows at 214, which is where we could have figured we were going if we would have pulled the anchored volume profile from the top. 618's right there, and we also have the value area high at $374. So where can we get confluence at? Right, we get confluence using the $465 level as a high with the 618. We also get confluence. All right, so nothing there quite. We're not even gonna look at that. We will zoom in a bit so mobile phone people can see a little bit better. We're gonna pull the volume profile a little bit lower. Go to this one right here. What are we calling this one? $420. All right. Again, we have very confluent point of control right at 244. So we're going to call this 420. $420 point of control. And then we're also going to mark out the value area high for it. 20 value area high. This is a level we want to see hit. We're currently at what, $241 before the market opens. Actually, we're gonna have to configure this again from center to right. Okay. Right. Okay, then we pull it down again. We're gonna get to some more local targets as we pull these levels down. Okay, now we're cooking. Now we have the $227 level as the value area low for what's the price? We'll call it 367. Value area low. Point of control at 249. Point of control and value area high. Very high level, high interest level that we are looking at right now. Area high. Very important level. As long as we can hold this area, break above 250-ish. So we have to get above 250 before we can start talking about the $272 level, $367 value area high. Okay, so we zoom back in again. These are how I get my levels. These are how we get our levels. We go to the low of the low, value area low, right where the 367 is. So we're using this low. We're calling this low 217. Value area low. We don't want to go lower than that while we're playing this small micro range here. Okay, we got another point of control there. We have to mark it out. You know it's going to overlap with the other one. 217 point of control and the 217. You guessed it. Value area high. Okay, so for the 217 level, for the very local level, again, this is on the daily, but it's very local, just over the past more than 5 weeks. We want to stay above $224. We want to break above $248, and then ultimately in this zone we want to see $262 hit, broken out of either into this 367 or 420 value area highs, and then a pull back into this level to use as support before we can start getting very bullish. I do anticipate we'll continue to accumulate here at higher lows and break above. Now we look at market cipher. Volume is the money. Oh, it's a long day. It's been a long day. We still have market cipher is not looking very good for Tesla. It looks like it can break down to the downside. We would need this to start curving up before we can get bullish again. We would need a spike in volume in order for this to turn from white to blue and get a green dot as we can call it a clip right there. So honestly, not looking good. This is at the same time an outlook for the stock market in general for the next day, 3 days. Honestly, not looking good. So we could come back to this value area low at 224. That's what I would expect from the stock market. Well, Tesla and the stock market going into tomorrow. Just looking at the daily chart, we go into the 4-hour chart. Volume is starting to scoop back up. We're starting to get a scoop back up. So the hope is that we could start to see some slow volume come in over the next few days to turn everything around, because Tesla definitely needs it. So we're looking to hold 224 before we can start getting bullish to the upside, right? So we're going to leave that there for Tesla. I said it was going to be quick. Sorry, it's been a while since we did that analysis. So we'll see how that looks by the end of the week, or when we get another significant move down or up. The next one we want to look into is Rivian. We're going to keep Rivian very simple. Price action here again. Last time we were talking about we want to see a move up to this trend line here. We did get some higher lows out of this box. We got multiple touches on the 1 hour. Let's go to the 1 day. We had this downward bear flag going on here, and then we started getting higher highs, as you can see with this bar here. Higher highs, and now we want to start to see, what do we want to see out of this? Higher highs. Okay, we don't necessarily need this right now. We want to see higher highs out of this. Right, so we want to come. We really want to come. We want to break that level we just had, and we really want to come all the way back here to $14.64 or higher before we can start getting bullish on Rivian. Otherwise, we can just ping pong around for a little bit. Even if Rivian is bullish, which I don't think it's going to go against the market, but even if it is bullish and we start to come back up, that's only the second touch of that trend line. We can come down for another higher high before we then start to make higher high bullish accumulation, right? And then we could finally break out. But that would be, that could take a while. We take a look at the weekly. Again, we want to see another move up to a higher high, and then we can start to take it serious. We get sell-offs when we get pushes up and then sell-offs at these resistance levels. Again, we got it again. So we need to accumulate or get some big volume coming in over the next few weeks, and then make a higher high above $16.66 before we start getting bullish. But ultimately, this is a level you can start to accumulate over long term. Anything under $16, and you believe in Rivian's vision, you believe it's going to become California's darling, like we talked about in the last video, this is a great area to start accumulating long term. If we end up getting one little move under this $8.36, grab as much as humanly possible, right? Because Rivian, we then want to start to see higher highs, and start to clear into this $40 level where there's not much volume left. All of the venture capitalists and investors, they all sold off on all these moves down, and they probably sold at worst down here. So there's no longer anybody up here to, if anybody's shorting, they're going to get wrecked, right? Once positive volume starts coming up. So that's our outlook for Rivian. We're not even going to go into technicals because it has to start making higher highs first, right? The next one we do want to look at is MicroStrategy, or AKA now known as Strategy. Okay, so if we just take, so the best area that we were able to take confluence off of was the low of the market, right? We took the low of the market, and now we hit the value area low. This is where most stocks, most institutions have valued MicroStrategy at, according to what's happening with the volume. So we are going to mark that level out because it is very important. We're going to call it the low value area low. Mark out the point of control, low POC, and it's not 402, it's like 402. Low value area high. We have to mark those out. Okay, and then if we take all-time high, it's going to look a little bit different. Slightly different, not very much different at all. Well, except the value area high. Value area high is lower for some reason. So we can mark that out here. Value area low for, we'll just say all-time high. All-time high, value area low. All-time high, point of control. And interesting enough, the value area high is lower than the market cycle low value area high. That was difficult to say. All-time high, value area high. But that's interesting. So that we could hit that level sooner than later and be bullish from there on up after a move up and then a pullback. Right, but without even talking about technicals, we are looking at, so we can get rid of that just to clear everything up. We hit this box a few times. We zoom out to the 1 day. We zoom out to the 1 week. We get more higher level of detail. 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then we bounce up, and now we're hitting this little trend line here. We can say right there, which now we want to take a look at that next level, which happens to be the low value area high, with the low being right there. We get confluence with $339, which happens to be the low point of control and the all-time high point of control right in that zone. So we do want to see that a move to that level. We're going to mark it out as an alert. We do want to see a move to that level. That, if you don't know, Bitcoin has basically been following MicroStrategy. If you take a look at the past in early 2024, we had somewhat of a fractal going, very comparable moves happening from here, from what's the date, March 25th, 2024, until we got a breakout above the yellow line around October 2024, 7-month period. We are getting somewhat of a very similar move. We could be somewhere right around here, or we could be right there, and then we get another pullback. Once we hit this level, we could get a pullback along this level here. This is just an idea, and we pull back here until we accumulate and break out again. Obviously, the angle isn't the same, and I never believe that any fractals angles are ever the same. They don't have to be, but very similar, and we should get a breakout. Sometime soon we take a look at volume profile, or we take a look at market cipher B, and you got very similar action happening here and here, very similar action happening here and here. We got a higher low on the momentum wave. We got the green dots. We got the green dots created by the VWAP moves up above the 0 line there, and we got the so far we have a scoop up of the money flow happening here. We want to see that continuation going on. If we take a look at the daily, it's scooping up. It's red, but it's scooping up as well. We got a breakthrough of the momentum wave. From there, from here, we got an inverted head and shoulders happening. right? So we want to see a breakthrough, and we want to see, ow, get rid of that alert. We want to see a breakthrough, at least higher high on the momentum wave, right? So MicroStrategy, if we go a little bit higher, ultimately we want to see a breakthrough above 337. We want to see a tap there, slight pullback. If we hit that level, we pull out. I guess we pull down the Fibonacci. If we do hit 337 and pull back, we're either looking at a level, move down to 302, and then a bounce back up, which would keep with the trend line being as resistance and support at this level. Or let's see what we have going on. Yeah, we'll leave that alone. Okay, or we want to see flip the Fibonacci. We'd want to see a pullback no further than $275 or so. Okay, worst case, we hit here, come back here, start accumulating under resistance, break out again. Okay, so that's what we want to see for MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy happens to front run Bitcoin. I believe it's by 18 days. So whatever's happening with MicroStrategy is going to happen with Bitcoin. I do still hold from my original video that we do see a higher high of MicroStrategy, which would blow everybody's mind. But until that day, worst case, we would end up seeing a lower high up to what is the 618 from the all-time high down to the current local low. We would see somewhere between here and here, $476. Worst case, the S&P 500. We're keeping it even more simple. Let's go to the 1 week, 1 day. We want to see accumulation above the 5K level. Get rid of this fractal. It's hard to mark that one out. Right. Give me that one. So worst case, we want to see a drop down to the 4.9K level, and then a move up off of that. But it does seem that we could have got a bounce off of that level for the final. That is not a thing. Don't even look at that. Right, and then we end up getting a bounce. Fibonacci, we're going from there to there. We're looking for a move up to a lower high somewhere in this zone between 5.75K, 5.9K, or if we end up having to go down to the trend line, that's what we're looking at, 5.65K all the way up to 5.87K. And that would spell, that could spell the end of the market, or we end up getting something very similar to this price action here, and then we could make, ultimately make a higher high to end the market. Right, we could get something very similar to that going on. So where S&P 500 goes, Tesla, Rivian, MicroStrategy, they end up ultimately going. MicroStrategy does outperform the market. It will outperform the market at this time, but it'll follow its lead. And then NVIDIA is the leader in the market because it's up to 13% of the total value of the S&P 500, which is absolutely ludicrous and all-time high, even compared to Enron. What happened to Enron? They imploded. NVIDIA's not going to implode, but where NVIDIA goes, the rest of the market goes. S&P 500 will go as well. So we're going to leave it at that. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, join the Discord or send a question in the comments below. We have a lot of referrals in the description below. If you have other stocks you want me to look at, fire away, shoot it at me, and we'll take a look at it. We're going to leave it at that. Thanks for watching.